things along.
Good to go?
Yes.
All right, we'll begin with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And that goes for Jonah Gearing too.
Yes.
Justice.
Good morning and welcome everybody to the December 29th Marion County Commission meeting, last meeting of the year of 2023. So we begin with,
Thanks.
we'll begin with public comments. I don't think there's anyone in the room wants to make public comments.
You're still in privacy mode, by the way.
I am?
Yeah. Still red up there.
I don't know why it now it's
And-
pointing at the ceiling.
You want to be in automatic mode, not privacy mode.
Right.
Okay. Here you
It
go.
was showing a picture, it wasn't showing the little glasses thing. And now we're pointed up there.
Okay, should we start over? We're on now?
Okay.
Okay, welcome everybody to the December 29th Marion County Commission meeting. Begin with public comments. Anyone in the room, public comments? Online, if you're online, turn on your mic. See Jeremy Davis, would you like to make comments? I guess not. With that, we'll close a public forum and move into agenda approval. Any, yes, Mr. Dalkey?
Yeah, Dan, one for property acquisition,
Okay.
executive session for 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
The transient guest tax notification that we got this morning, I'd like to add that along with that destination creation course.
Okay.
I think that was gonna be under county councilor, but
It was?
I believe so.
If it's not, we'll address it.
Okay.
One way or another.
Otherwise, we'll have it as an agenda item.
Okay.
And wherever.
Very good. We'll make sure we hit it either under county councilor item or separate item.
Okay.
Make sure we get it. Anything else to add to the agenda? All right, we have an agenda in place. Let's move into administrative business.
All right, in your packet, you have the sales tax. It's really small, but
Still big numbers.
okay, so it's 92,991.97. And we have, we had no invoices to Elcon, and we do have invoices to Western Associates in the total amount of $37.50.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Becker to approve the Western Associates invoice.
Gary. Was it
Gary, sorry.
I'll second it.
Think of that. Western Associates 3750, second by Commissioner Becker. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Abstain.
Okay, 4 in favor, 1 abstain.
Before we go further, I can pull one more, or a couple more out.
Okay.
So, just for transparency,
Yeah.
I know it's just a reimbursement, but Kent Becker at $88.43. I'll go ahead and motion to approve that one.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gehring
Brought some discussion there.
to approve Commissioner Becker's reimbursement for mileage to the convention. Is there a second?
Yep.
Second by Commissioner Dalkey. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Abstain.
Okay, 4 in favor, 1 abstain.
And then one more, Glanzer Pro Audio. I will need to abstain from because my company works for Glanzer on that project.
Okay.
Help me find it.
That was 42,074.
Oh, gotcha. Yep, that was for, yeah. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Dalkey to
I'll
approve.
second that.
And a second from Commissioner Crowfoot to approve the payment to Glanzer for the audiovisual in the commission room. Discussion? I just think it's a great asset. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Abstain.
4 in favor, 1 abstain. Thank you for catching us. Okay, other questions on payday? Lot to review.
I had one on
Yes.
page 9. What was the,
Okay.
we paid Tabor College?
That's a pass-through grant from, that was received from the state of Kansas
Okay, 'cause
Emergency Management. So, that was for their, congregate housing during COVID. So that came through us and will go out to them.
I
So
couldn't
that's,
figure out what the abbreviation was from.
yeah, that's what that's.
Yep, thank you for asking.
Some government agency.
Any other questions or any invoices that you want to look at? I need a new computer, I'm just telling you. I'll be getting a new computer next year for a year. This thing is terrible.
I got my own, just on that note, I'm getting to where I'm using my iPad more. Maybe I could just take my iPad, you can have this one if you want it. It's up to you.
Okay, any other questions on payday? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Becker to approve the payday grand total $2,498,519.23. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second, Commissioner Crowfoot. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
We did have change orders today. packet, we have the minutes of December 18th.
Commission has had a chance to review the minutes of December 18th. Any additions or corrections?
Make a motion to approve if nobody has any conversation, discussion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Galkey, second by Commissioner Gearing to approve December 18th minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. Motion carried 5-0. Oh, you squeezed it under one.
I did. It does look a little squeezy, doesn't it?
It's a busy day to get all in one place.
Yes. Okay. I do have some salary change sheets.
Okay, road bridge gravel, Lawrence Jean Lanning, rehire as equipment operator 2, $2,940 a month, effective January 3rd. In emergency management, new management deputy director, 30 hours a week in the emergency management department, 10 hours per week in the health department. $21.83 an hour, Daniel Schaefer, effective December 21st, 2023.
Came up from the hospital, Hillsborough.
Oh,
Yeah.
good deal.
Yeah.
County Appraiser Department, change from Administrative Specialist 1 to Personal Property Coordinator, Ashlyn Daniel, $2,541 a month to $2,744 a month, effective December 21st.
I do have some, excuse me, some year-end transfers. These were not complete at the time we did the packets. These are budgeted transfers, and the first one is from the bait shop to the park in the amount of $5,000. You might remember in the budget, we initially funded that with the $25,000 transfer from park, and so over the next few years, I'd like to transfer that back in. So that's the first one. The second one is the third of the budgeted transfers from road and bridge to special equipment. The next one is the budgeted transfer from the general fund, road and bridge sales tax line item and the road maintenance improvement line item to both of those go to capital improvement. That's a budgeted transfer. We do 3 of those a year. This is the third one. And then the final one is a $5,000 transfer from noxious weed to noxious weed capital outlay, which is a budgeted transfer that we do each year. So these, if you could approve pending review of the final cash position and budget balance, I want to make sure that we have adequate funds and budget authority. But if we could approve them pending that review, that would be great.
When will that be?
It'll be within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It takes 2 to 3 weeks for us to close the month
Okay.
and close the year.
Cool.
So I don't have any December numbers yet
Okay. Good.
for certain parts.
Does the commission like to separate each of them out individually, or are you comfortable doing them all in one approval?
Do them all at once.
Have any objections to any of them?
So pending budget authority, I don't.
Yeah. I'm good with all.
Okay, so is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Motion from Commissioner Gary to approve the four budgeted transfer amounts. That was from bait shop to park of 5,000. Road and bridge to special equipment, $116,666.66. Road and bridge sales tax capital improvement fund, $112,490. Road maintenance and improvements to the capital improvement fund, $178,583. And the last one, noxious weed capital outlay, $5,000, pending staff review for budget and cash balances. That was your motion?
Correct. My motion.
Okay. This is a motion by
I have a motion, you get a second.
Gary,
Oh,
second,
okay,
second by Commissioner Becker. All those, any discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Okay, there is a question though, I guess, but just thinking about it. Okay, if we're approving these in December 29th, how does, if we put this, does this into the 23 budget then?
Yes.
So whatever we just approved, there's no expenditures out of that? Would that be correct then to say at the end of the year?
Well, this is just to finish funding those
Finish funding it, okay.
Budget
Okay.
funds for this year. So there wouldn't be any additional expenditures out of the park or the.
Okay.
So,
Right.
yeah, so if there are, like in January, if there are expenses that come in that were obligated during December, we charge
Okay.
them back to the
Okay.
current budget year.
That's what it could be used for, okay.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Speak up so it takes your picture.
I mean, finally stop zooming in and out on him.
It just likes the purple.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Red didn't do too good last night late. They sort of fell apart.
Just looking, it's gonna be a little bit of a whirlwind, I wanna make sure I don't miss anything, so.
Call back on the purple the other night. Last night was upset some people that I was in the room with. Man.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe that is all of the administrative business that I have for today.
Okay. We've got a little bit of time before our next agenda item. How about we would do an executive session on contract negotiations, Brad? That'd be all right? Got to update the commission on a few things before we get into the actual agenda items. All right, I move we recess to executive session in order to discuss, actually, would it be pending litigation or contract? Okay, contract negotiations. I move recess into executive session in order to discuss contract negotiations pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for consultation with our attorney-client privilege. That's item number 2. with Commission Brad and Tina for 5 minutes, 9:22 to 9:27.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We will be back at 9:27.
So just press the square, right?
Yep.
And then I can press the circle again and start.
And then if you go to privacy mode.
Conference will now be recorded.
They're in and out, so it's. Mhm.
All right, so we are out of executive session. No decisions made. The lights are green, so the mics are on. Darren, John, welcome.
Come up and join a seat right beside me. I want to see you guys today.
You get to sit by him, I'll sit.
Oh, no. And you don't have to speak into the microphone anymore.
Hey guys, I like that.
Yeah,
What you guys do, just
that's magic. That's
put
the
a
law.
giant mic in that picks up everything, everything.
Hopefully the camera will zoom right in on you when you start.
Oh, hey, I don't know about that.
Picks up all the conversations in the hallway too, in case you guys said anything that you don't want to.
Oh, can I go back and scratch that? I only talked bad about Randy. He's at least wearing the right color today, I'll give him
It's
that.
on Randy Day.
Sometimes I ask for it.
Sometimes. Well, while that's going around, basically yesterday, we opened bids on 290.
Excellent.
To give you a background, remembering on that, that's economic development money is $1 million from KDOT. So your share had to be 51%. I'm not sure why the 51%, but that's what the thing I saw says. Now for numbers on here, for making it easier, I'm just gonna use 50%, but it's relatively the same number. So we had, actually had 6 bidders, which is, I was incredibly impressed that we had 6 bidders. But one of the reasons you got such great bids, and there were so many bidders, is there's gonna be 3 asphalt plants in Marion County next summer. There's gonna be one up here near the rock quarry at Marion. There's gonna be one up on North K-15, and there's gonna be one down around the Florence area. So 3 different companies are gonna be doing KDOT projects here in the county next year, or adjacent counties. So we got some very, very, very good bids. So out of the 6 bidders, so the base bid, basically the way I set that up is that's to do all of the base work and 2 inches of asphalt. The add alternate 1 takes it to a 3-inch asphalt. Add alternate 2 is the section inside the city of Lincolnville that's not in the driving lanes. So I don't know how you want to necessarily handle that one, but I kept it separate so we could discuss that with City of Lincolnville. So the apparent low bidder in this case, for no matter what combination you look at, was Donlinger and Sons Construction. I do not know which asphalt company they have subcontracted to use. They'll do all the base work though, Donlinger's. In fact, Donlinger's the one that did all the base work on Kansas for Wildcat. Wildcat did the paving, but Donlinger did the base.
Okay.
So, very good company to work for, but you can see that they were 1,809 and Pearson was 1,830. Now, Pearson is the one I'm pretty sure is the one that's gonna have the plant set up in the rock quarry. So I'm wondering if Donlinger isn't using Pearson anyway. So I don't know that for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me since that's the closest asphalt plant. Schilling is the one that's gonna have a plant set up on North K-15. I know Donlinger is not attached to them because I talked to Eric with Schilling after the bid yesterday. So that only leaves the one other plant that's gonna be set up down by Florence, possibly. But either way, the plant's gonna be within 10, 15 miles at the furthest of this job site.
That's huge.
So, my recommendation at this point, based on your grant dollars, would be to award the base bid and the add alternate 1. Because if we just awarded the base bid at this point, you're actually gonna lose some grant money, because you wouldn't even be up to the full $1 million and 50% match. if we go with the base bid plus add alternate one, it puts it at about 1.147 million. Or, I'm sorry, that's yours. It puts your share at 1.147, so about 147,000 over the halfway point. But like I said, that's that 50% number. I didn't figure it on 51. So 51, you'd have to actually spend a little bit more anyway. So that actually fits the dollars, your dollars, almost perfectly to go that base bid plus the alternate one. By getting the 3 inches of asphalt the way we set it up, it actually, I'm making them do it in 2 lifts.
Yes.
So we'll do an 1.5 inch lift that tops it, and then an 1.5 inch lift that smooths it, and that way we'll get a much better ride. The only other question mark on this job, and I won't know this until we start working with them, within the railroad right-of-way, which is kind of a funky railroad right-of-way up there because the north side of the road, coming in on that west side of Lincolnville, actually the railroad has a 300-foot right-of-way on the north side of the road, but the south side of the road is only 100. So I set it up to within the 100 to only do a mill and overlay. We're not gonna do the full depth reclamation right up to the railroad tracks. It doesn't need it, it's not as bad. However, we have to go get that railroad permit, which I couldn't do until we had a contractor named now, the way the new railroad permits are working. We have found out in just the last 4 to 6 months on a couple other jobs, this is BNSF, in 2 other locations, BNSF and UP has done this too now. They're coming back and making the governmental entity, the owner, sign a new affidavit, which also is, we've had a couple of places trying to figure out a way to get out of this, but they are now wanting to give you guys an annual charge for every crossing you have in the county. Fair warning that we're gonna face this probably as we start to go through the permit.
Seems like it ought to be the other way around.
I'm in agreement with you, but
So-
this is something new.
An overpass doesn't count as a crossing.
No, it counts.
It does.
Anything that's a water line, gas line, electric line, driving lanes, in, on, over, under
Yeah.
a railroad right of way. We had an entity that had to supply them with a listing of every crossing and legal descriptions for every crossing before they signed a permit. And then they wanted to come back and charge them. So here's my way around that on this particular one. I'm warning you of that because you're gonna have lots of projects over the years that, and all of our cities are. I mean, just think about how many water lines and sewer lines we have to cross all these. On this one, if they come back and try to fight this thing really hard, that 100 feet or 50 foot either side of the center line track that I have said is a mill and overlay, we would just not even do it. I'll just stop the project at the railroad right of ways. If this is gonna be a huge issue for them on this one. So that's my worst case scenario. I don't wanna do that, but if it saves you guys the heartache this time around of this, we'll go that route this time. But I wanted to let you know that they're even trying to ping it, you know, for these just ones that you guys have out in the county that are just rock gravel right up the tracks and right past. I mean, they're literally wanting to charge a access fee for every crossing in your jurisdiction.
But they're accessing us.
That's not the way the US government sees it with the railroad.
Railroad's been around longer than a road
has-
system.
yeah.
They were here first.
Railroad gets top billing as far as who has jurisdiction.
We argued that yesterday for 2 hours and I got nowhere.
I know, I don't know how we're gonna fight in the future. We're trying to, and when I say we, this is a lot of consultants are talking to each other, trying to figure out if we can figure out a way to help all of our cities and counties, because it's gonna get.
Are they gonna do a standard charge for each crossing, or each
Yeah.
probably be different?
Depends on the railroad you're working with. One of the short lines, I say it's not a bad fee, but when you start adding it up,
Well-
they only want $200 a year for each thing, okay? Well, but like in this one town we're working with, they have like 19 water line, sewer line, road crossings. Well, 19 times 200 this year, and then every year for in perpetuity, and once you sign that piece of paperwork, yeah, I guarantee you, you're gonna get a bill.
I can't imagine how many crossings we have in Marion
Oh,
County.
it's a bunch.
They need to be.
100?
Oh.
Every crossing needs to be equipped with
Electronic arms.
arms.
Yeah.
If that's the case,
Virtually every
we can
city-
negotiate this for safety.
Every city is bifurcated, so you've got water lines and all of this. That's what I had yesterday. They had 12, and they lost it because I had the whole council involved, and it didn't really matter. We didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, and the bad thing is, they're wanting to throw this on there, even though like we've got a sewer line that all we were doing was putting, the pipe where we cure in place, we push a new pipe inside. That's
Casing.
Yeah, it's inside casing. So we had no equipment inside the right of way. We were 100 foot each side of the right of way in the manholes, just lining it. And that still triggered the railroad system to try to do all this in that community.
So if you go over a certain number of feet, that insurance policy vaults up like double, and they have to have that flagman there. I don't know what they can call him.
Well, yeah, you have to contact the railroad to have their people in place. Well, we now also have, if we're putting in a new line, a couple of these railroads, if you're within so many feet below the main track lines, and just like 15 feet, we now have to have a surveyor on site, and every couple of hours, we have to survey every 10 feet on the rail, within 100 feet of where we're putting a new line underneath, to make sure that rails aren't moving.
No dip, no settle, no rise.
Mhm.
Another unfunded mandate.
So, like I said, I'm just warning you, I think I've got a workaround for this one, but don't be surprised if, because I know you guys got a lot of other jobs coming up, and I'm trying to think of other places that you might start crossing some rail lines, but
Well, that same road, 290th on the west side.
on the west side.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't remember if that's BNSF or is that UP over
That's
there?
UP.
That's UP,
So we
okay.
did deal with both.
You need to do with the other one, yeah.
And then they require that insurance coverage as well, don't they?
Yeah, in the insurance coverage, we were requiring the contractors were
Contractors
required to
got
get the insurance
Okay.
certificate, and that was part of what they had to do for their bid. So that's not a problem, but before I could turn in the actual permit, I needed their insurance with that contractor name. So here after the first of the year, I'll start working on this permit.
What we got hit with yesterday, though, was another insurance policy. Annette Jenkins, BNSF, came back to us and said, "This, you've got another." I think it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was another $4,000 that they expect to be posted by the contractor. I don't know whether it's a performance bond or what it was. I haven't gotten her number yet, but it's part of the agreement, and she alerted me to it when they had the conversation about it. So maybe something more.
On this one, I don't think so, because we're not actually gonna mess with the tracks.
Yeah, that's-
I'm
you're
hoping
right.
not,
They
that
shouldn't
we're,
have to.
we're staying away from there. In fact, that's got a concrete crossing up there, so we're, even if we do the mill overlay, I'm gonna stay back from it a couple feet, because I don't want you guys or our contractor to get blamed for coming anywhere close to that concrete crossing.
Okay, we got our base bid, the alternate one. Is there any opposition to moving forward with the alternate one?
The only reason why you're doing the alternate one is because the grant.
Well, not the only reason, but I'd say the first reason is you're gonna have a better product.
Mhm.
The second reason would be there's grant funding for it.
Right, you're gonna get funded, if we do the alternate one, which
You
is
get some of it,
330.
you won't get
Yes, yes.
We'll get,
50% of it.
yeah, roughly half of the alternate one
Yeah.
would also get funding.
Alternate two is.
Alternate two is just I'm gonna call it the parking areas inside the city of Lincolnville. And what I would like to do on that one is, I need to get back with the city of Lincolnville and let them know what that cost is gonna be. And see if, I don't even know if they have the money to do it. This was just something we said, hey, Sherry up there, who's the mayor, said, let's take a look at it, since she was with KDOT anyway. And
We had to do all their cleanup at Lincolnville, so they didn't have funding to do that, so. I think that decision would be made up here anyway.
So,
But the first-
but we would not
first
have,
process
right
is-
now, we could award base bid and alternate one, and clerk to the day we start work, we could still award alternate two.
Okay.
That one's not a decision that has to be made today,
Okay.
by any means. Right now, the bigger decision that I need to because that money there, economic development money, wouldn't be tied into the alternate two anyway, but I need to be able to let KDOT later today know what we're committing to on the the economic development money.
That answers the questions on alternate two. Okay, any other discussion?
Just, remember we're building a good road, just what you just said, so. And we want to apply ourselves other places in the county to try to do that too.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I would move to approve the bid from Doniger and Sons. Base bid amount $1,809,550. Alternate one, $338,100 for the project on Marion County 290th Road, Remington to US 77.
Second.
And second by Commissioner Becker. Further discussions or any questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Really appreciate your help on this, Darren.
No problem. Okay.
We appreciate the partnership.
That's-
Scott?
This was gonna be, Donlinger does real good work and they're gonna move pretty fast. Oh, just to let you know, they did, they're proposing a June 17th start date. Is their proposal. And part of that's based on the plants that are gonna be in here. You know, they didn't wanna start too far ahead if the plant can be right behind it, because the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start contacting, I'm gonna put together our list of landowners up there, and I'm gonna start contacting the landowners just to let them know this will be coming. So I wanted this approximate time frame before I start talking to them. But we told the contractors in the bidding documents that they could open up the road to public, or to local traffic only without having the asphalt cap on it for up to 30 days. But if anything happened in that 30 days, they were responsible for repairing it prior to the asphalt. We did that just to try to create that working relationship up there, because we don't want to, because we got like 5 major driveways in that 1 mile stretch between Sunflower and Timber.
Yeah. Well,
And then also over to.
And plus it's starting right at Harvest.
Exactly.
Grain elevator and delivery route.
Right,
and
so-
feedlot.
But we also, the way Donlinger's gonna do it, because I discussed it with just about everybody on this list, we shouldn't have anybody out of their driveway for more than 5 or 10 minutes at the most, right when they're going by. You know, kind of like we were able to do down on Indigo when we got into the south couple miles. So it should work out. I know it's gonna be right during harvest time. That is gonna be a little bit tricky, but I think the way Donlinger worked with everybody over on Kansas too, that, you know, they understood what we were up against there with fertilizer.
You just opened up a can of worms. I'm gonna open it up just a little more here. You just said, Nighthawk, or Indigo, right?
Indigo.
What are we doing on the approaches, private approaches, road crossing approaches, all for the whole project? Because on that project, we goofed up.
So on the crossroads on this one, like I did over on 330th,
Okay.
they go back to the crossroad right of way. So we're getting roughly 18, 19 feet off
Out.
the edge.
Okay.
Right. I like doing that because then all of a sudden our gravel that's on the side roads doesn't get tracked on the main line. It gets tracked onto that little bit of approach, but it
Right.
doesn't get pushed up on
Right.
the main
And
line.
that's,
Plus, it doesn't give us there's no lip then.
but one more step, each landowner, what are we doing for them?
Okay, if it is a entrance, not a farm field entrance, if it was an entrance that was already improved with either pavement, because we do have one of those, or rock, and it's a primary residence or business entrance, it's getting paved 10 feet
Okay.
to the width that they were before.
Okay, yes, right.
So
Right.
the one that's really wide is the co-op entrance up there in Lincolnville.
Okay.
Because they're, well, and it's not going as wide as it is now, because they've got like 80 feet.
Yeah.
But I think I did 40 or 45 there. Now that one too, we also went thicker. I'm actually giving them 6 inches of asphalt for that 10 feet, because I know they're gonna pound it. But everybody else along there, whatever the width of their driveway is now, which some of them were 15, I think it was a 12, that's like an 18. Going back to 10 feet with just the 3 inches, whatever our main line pavement
Well,
is.
just so we treat everybody the same, because we didn't on Indigo.
What about the,
Huh?
what about the field entrances?
The field entrances, they just get the rock like we've done everywhere else. That's what we did on 330s, that's what we did on Indigo. We just put an extra little rock wedge in there.
I just see so much of that. I don't know if it was like a foot or two.
Yeah.
Just so where the heavy equipment coming back up on the road.
Well, and that's what-
that part breaks off and not the road proper breaks off.
The difference, a little bit difference, what we did on Indigo, and I also did this on 330th, and I've looked at that quite a bit up there, tried to drive that. Our base that we're doing the full depth reclamation is actually a foot past the asphalt. I'm sorry, it's actually a foot past our shoulder. So we actually have 3 foot of FDR outside the driving lane. So the base is good enough under there that when we have that and we put that rock on top, the rock is acting like that, so we don't get that slough off on the asphalt.
Yeah, I'm not blaming
No,
farmers
but-
or anything. I just know that the equipment
No,
gets
and that's-
heavier and it breaks that edge.
That's why we've got a good base all the way out underneath, so it won't break that asphalt edge.
Because undoubtedly, when we get a new job, there's gotta be one somewhere. There's gotta be one that makes the curve right out.
Oh.
You can see how they turn, because they can scratch it at least 2 inches deep sometimes, inch deep.
Well, that was,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't control the hydraulics.
I know that, but it's sometimes due to our approaching.
Oh.
Approaches causes that too, but.
I don't think up on this stretch, and I haven't looked west of here, but on this 4-mile stretch, we don't have any steep farm field entrances or driveways. Like we,
Good.
we had some on
Yeah.
Indigo, or we had some,
Yes.
yeah. I know up on 330th, we had a couple too up there that were steeper.
I appreciate you thinking of it. Very
Well,
much. Good.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
All the things we don't think about.
So-
Experience.
Yeah.
So that was my determination, and I guess you guys want to point a finger on that deal. I made that determination based on farm field versus a residence that's an active residence or business.
Just for your information, you get a gold star today.
Does that mean anything?
Thank you.
A gold star from Randy.
Good deal.
Take it to the bank.
Yeah, that's a good.
No, very good.
Okay,
We're excited.
I will get contract back to you for signature next week. So whenever you're back in, it's not a rush thing at this point, because the big rush was just to get
Yes.
economic development notified that we've got it awarded.
Yes.
And you're gonna contact them?
I'm gonna send Michelle an email as soon as I get back to the
Super,
house.
okay.
Saying, done.
Excellent.
That way she can't yell at you anymore.
She never did, do you?
No, she doesn't, but that way, she's checked with me a couple times this last couple months just to see how things were, if we were still proceeding on it, so. I'll let her know.
Well, very good. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Would you be willing to copy me on that?
Yes, I can CC you. Yep.
Now, I got a question for John, though.
What's that?
Are you following all this and got it under control?
I do.
All right, good job. Thank you. You can have a gold star too today.
Nice.
See?
Look at that.
It's yeah, yours is worth as much as mine. So. Thank y'all.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Hey, Josh. There we are. Been a long week, hasn't it?
It has. Ready for me?
We are ready.
Yeah, it was an interesting week, especially Wednesday.
But I'll be one to say, you don't hand that to me, but I believe I have.
What I did is I took pictures. We had a fire Wednesday night, started about around 7, 7:30. Caught one of our newer trailers on fire. Fire department, they acted quick, big thanks to them. And getting there as quick as they can, what they could do until I could get a truck hooked up and get everything unloaded. So, doesn't look that bad, but I think it's actually worse than what I think the trailer's gonna be total.
No, it was too loud. It was too loud out there.
Oh, okay.
You can bring it over now.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Josh.
You're fine. So
I think the trailer's lost just because it got so hot, it warped my back door. They had to pry the ends open to get it over the latches. And I
Back
can't.
door on the trailer?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yep, sorry.
Yeah.
So it won't even shut. I got a couple pictures of the latches where you'll see there. And then I got one that's a normal gap, so.
It's like the only thing left is the floor.
Down the floor.
We had plastic slides underneath, it melted all them slides.
That's that very first picture you see.
That's that first one.
That's not icicles.
No, not icicles, not icicles, so.
No one hurt?
Nobody got hurt.
No one injured.
Nobody's injured, so that I know of, but I think. Okay, so, and I did see the ambulance up there, I don't know if they checked a couple people out or something.
So enough water was dumped on it, you didn't have to dump the trailer.
I ended up having to dump the trailer.
Yeah, spread it.
We had to get it spread out and stuff, so.
Everything put on the ground.
Otherwise it'd just sit there and smolder and smolder. They'd watch it
I
for
was
48
told,
hours.
I was told by an individual that was the only way we're ever gonna get it out. so.
Yes, and that's, you know, the SWANA meetings that I go to once a year, they had a fire guy, you know, a firefighter that's all he deals with is transfer, mostly landfill fires. And that's where I learned is you get that trailer unloaded as fast as you can get it spread out so you get the fire out. So, you know, those trainings are very helpful.
Okay.
So I learned something from that and we've used it. The very last page was actually the quote for that trailer, is what we paid for that trailer. Back in 2001, into 2001, so we got that trailer.
Have you contacted the manufacturer? Will they rebuild it or not? Or?
I have not. I'm working, I'm waiting on a fire report to
Insurance.
see what insurance is gonna do about it, so.
Is there any way to avert hot material getting in there?
See, the
I mean,
thing
a lot
was-
of that I know is internal combustion
Yeah.
problem, but this time of year, you wouldn't think you would get that much. It would.
Could be off your battery or
Yeah.
two
there's-
different kinds of.
The
you know,
lithium ion batteries.
I've seen, you know, like wet grass and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You take off.
We don't take any wet grass or trees, you know, once in a while somebody will bring a limb in or something, but, a lot of them, we just kind of remind them to take it to
Yeah.
where the designated dumps for
You know,
them.
with stuff getting thrown in the door, if it's all bagged up,
Mhm.
you have a bunch of wet leaves, wet grass.
Yeah. It's hard telling exactly what set it off. I don't think there was any ashes. My guy said they never seen any ashes come in that day. Of course, we make sure there at least no fire, you know, nothing has been burnt at least a week or longer.
Could have been batteries from Christmas.
Yeah, it
Swap
could-
out batteries for all
You
the
know,
toys.
just battery or
Just
by
put-
chance a couple different chemicals reacting against each other.
I know it happens. I've seen trash trucks with a dump a load in the middle of the street.
Mhm. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just waiting on that fire report so I can get the insurance, because they want that. And once we get that, I'll get everything to them and hopefully get things.
How'd you unload it? Did the walking floor walk, or did you have to use a hose?
The walking floor did walk. I was glad that it did walk, even though we're missing, you know, some of them guides. But
Yeah.
those are just to help keep from metal piece of it. So I hooked up to that, and I crossed my fingers and
That
turned her on and let her go.
You
So
weren't worried about tearing it up, just wanted to get unloaded.
exactly. I just wanted it unloaded. I didn't care what as long as it was moving. If anything else in there was going to get tore up, that was it. So, you know.
So how many trailers we have left?
We got 3. One, the new one that we actually got this year, we've just been kind of keeping the recycling in it, so we're back to running that once a week. Until this other trailer that we did have.
So we're not really mission critical yet.
We're not critical yet.
We got one on order now.
We got one on order, I think it's like May or June when it's gonna be here, so.
I'm gonna speed it up.
I wish that was
Yeah.
as simple
Good luck
as
with
that, so.
I think we do need to thank the city of Marion and the fire, because they had some city vehicles involved. They brought their bucket truck down so they could get
Yeah.
on top
to
of
get
it.
down.
Yep, yep, the
Okay.
city,
The
yeah,
city
they brought that
bucket
down.
truck showed up.
Okay.
So it's a coordinated effort.
Okay. Yes, we appreciate the help.
Very well
All,
organized.
all the help from all the other departments, and
All of them.
Marcy was there.
We need to buy Marcy a jacket, a coat.
When I called her, she said, I'm going out the driveway right now.
She didn't have a coat to wear at church. She said she can't afford one. An all-weather coat. So we need to force her to buy. She should have coveralls and a jacket in that truck.
I think that's part of the budget. Uniform.
But she don't want to spend money. Which is good.
She knows how cold she is. Okay.
She looked cold to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good, I appreciate all the
That's not
departments
my
being
jacket
there
right now.
to assist. Well, I don't know what else to say.
Anything else?
Yeah, you go to meetings where you sit with same type of people that you're in on the transfer station, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know how many people around us lose trailers from loading from landfills, or from transfer stations, like what we run, to where they go to landfill. And I'd just like to know in the last 3 years, how many, we've been pretty lucky here. We haven't lost one for at least 2-3 years.
And we had one a couple of years, 2 or 3 years ago, but we never lost it. It just did a little scorching to the side and stuff, and that was another one of those.
It was during the workday, so you seen it start.
Yeah, we got it out and got it unloaded as fast as we could, and that's, no damage to the trailer except for a little scorching on the side, so.
There's some, I don't know where Osage County goes to. I don't know some of the ones in Peoria. I don't think they go very far when they transfer.
They go to Ham,
They
or
go-
Ham Quarry.
Ham Quarry?
Yes, Ham Quarry does them. They do
That's-
Morris,
okay.
Geary County.
Ham comes down and runs their trailers though, right?
Yeah, those are Ham's trailers. Those are Ham's trailers. Ham brings the trailers and drops them off, I believe.
Some of them do, some of them don't. I mean, I think our contract was, they'd run our trailers, but we wouldn't run theirs. We had to pay the trailers.
Yeah.
Which could mean that they lose one every once in a while.
Well, Josh, appreciate you being on top of it, informing us that night, and letting us know what was going on. Main thing is nobody was hurt.
Yes.
Yes.
Main thing.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully it'll be quieter.
I'm hoping for a better year next
Yeah,
year.
better year.
So.
One of these, this one is.
That was, he turned that in,
I
it's
did
required.
fill that report out
Okay.
and sent it to Tina, so.
So I just sent that around to
Oh,
y'all.
okay.
Just for information.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's in writing too, so.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Have a good New Year's.
Happy New Year. All right, we're ready for Isaac.
He's sitting there.
Isaac hasn't been fighting any fires this last couple days, nights.
Just metaphorically.
Different kinds.
Different kind.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Did you bring, printed copies of it? Okay. I didn't. Oh, well, I just didn't know if I needed to fix it for the board.
Just electronic.
I can do the hard copies, but I'm not sure which you prefer.
Does anyone want the hard copies?
I've got it here on
Randy, would you like a paper copy?
Yeah. Send one around if you got one.
This is the mobile home campsite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this the one?
Thank you. I saw a lot of pages on the computer. I didn't realize it was this many pages.
I think we got 12 here.
I've got a question before we start,
Okay.
Brad.
Mhm.
Is there any way we could get these 12 hours ahead of time, or even 18?
Sure.
Nobody had a chance to read them, because some of them, I've left home by 7:30 this
Mhm.
morning.
Yeah, I can do it that way.
I mean, send them one at a time as you get them down. Get them with them.
You guys probably haven't had a chance
No, we haven't had a chance to yet.
Okay.
We got them
Okay.
at 7:30 this morning.
If you've had a chance and you have questions, well, you got the floor.
Yeah, well,
Walk us through the highlights.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. So since we last met, I know Tina and I spent some time together kind of going through and comparing Brad's new version with our old version. We kind of did like a hybrid, I guess, so to say. So some of the stuff that wasn't covered in Brad's, we added from the old one and vice versa. Kind of.
So which one is this?
This is like a mix of the
Like
two.
one you and Tina
Yes,
wrote.
yeah. So Tina and I went through it, and then I know Tina did a lot of work kind of retyping everything out, and then I went through it and filled in some of the blanks that we didn't have answered, and then once I did that, Brad and I got together and we kind of finished it off. And that is what's sitting in front of you here. So, I mean, to start off, the big thing is we tried to stick with the contractual agreement compared to the old one, which was the actual lease agreement. So big thing is it's no longer a mobile home park. As you can tell at the top, we call it mobile home campsite. The days are the same. I know most of this stuff is the exact same as the old lease as far as rules and regulations go. I'll tell you guys kind of some of the stuff that when we went through, and I guess we can have that conversation. On page 3, on the rules, we talked about, anybody that stays over the allotted time for the mobile home use. That used to be.
Is that D?
Yes, D, yeah, number 5. That used to be $7 a day. We did that 14. That's the price that campers pay to stay in a spot. And so came up with that $14 a day because that's just our going rate for camping. So if they do stay over there a lot of time, then they would have $14 to pay there.
I had a question on D1, we talked about
Yes.
maybe doing away, just letting them stay forever, not as long as they want to.
And just to, what Isaac was saying earlier, Tina was incredibly helpful with that. They both spent a lot of time taking what I had done, because I had been overly ambitious, as we know, and went back to trying to put it with what they were doing and had been doing before. And then I tracked through all that after they got done and kind of figured out, okay, that's where they were headed and where the old agreements were. Because the marching orders I thought we had was get it done, you guys as staff do it. And if that's what you're happy with, then that's what we'll use. So kind of went that route. There are a couple of little blanks on here. I wasn't sure if they were intentional or not. And so, but everything else was put in there. And then I took everything that was necessary under Kansas law and put it in here for purposes of using it as a contract as opposed to landlord-tenant. And the one or two places where I couldn't avoid that, like I want us to be able, if we get one of these like we've been dealing with in the court system for months, where somebody just abandons something somewhere, we have a methodology to go about getting it without having to go through quite the anguish that it takes with landlord-tenant repossessions and reclamations and abandonment. So I created those sections, created all of the indemnification provisions that we really didn't have at the level we needed to in ours, and that's mostly the interdisbursement at the end of it as well, so that we covered the entire waterfront. But all this is now is just dealing with what we've referred to as campground or campsite. So we had, something in place just to cover that and deal with the 1,800 that we wanted to start with at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. We had discussion, I thought, about maybe changing that, since we raised the rate, to give them a carrot.
Mhm.
They could stay longer since we charge them.
And again,
Never
after
do it
Tina and
with one.
Isaac had gotten done, I took it and then I saw that in there and thought, okay, that's kind of what he wanted to, or what we thought he'd want to do. But
I
again,
think you all discussed it, but you didn't make a decision to
Well,
change
no, we
it.
Yeah.
didn't make any decision.
Yeah.
That's why I bring it up.
So are you just asking if the board wants to change that?
Change
now?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
We could do away with number 1 and number 5 now.
Well, okay, let's tackle number one, which was the seasonal. Part of that discussion that I remember was we didn't want workers moving in and staying there for the whole season as a work site. That's the way I remember the discussion.
But that was behind the lake hall. This is,
Yeah, so that would be a little bit,
these are
Yeah,
just the trailers.
yes. And so that would be, I mean, and I will say, I mean, just so, that is something that I have been asked by a lot of mobile home users,
Yeah.
is if we could change that or up that or whatever the case is. To be 100% honest, I think that if it was changed to, if you did not limit it, there would only be a handful that probably stayed over what the rules are
Stay
now.
over
I
a
mean,
week.
yeah, just because of work and other commitments. I would like to have something in there if we did change that to no restriction, just to where it couldn't be still used as like a full-time residence. But like, let's say if for 1 week or 2 weeks, you wanted to come up there and stay for 2 weeks at
For
a
10
time.
days or something.
But yeah, I just wouldn't want someone to say, okay, I'm moving out of my house on March 15th and I'm not coming home until
September, huh?
right. And so if there would be some way to kind of, I don't know how you would do that, but that would be my only concern. And like what you're saying, Dave.
I was trying to give them a carrot.
Yeah, and I do think it probably would not be abused. And really, I would think that there would maybe be 4 or 5 mobile home users that stay more than what they do now if we did change it. Most everybody has other things that they're doing, they come up just for a little quick.
They probably already stayed, just don't enforce it.
You already give them
So
4 nights, 5
under this
days.
scenario,
That's a week.
then if somebody decides to stay, would you be having to collect the $14 a night from them?
As it is now.
I mean, is that a headache?
Yeah.
It can be hard to keep track of. I mean, how many days they are. And to be 100% honest with you, I'm sure there's been multiple times where someone has stayed 1 day over and it hasn't been a big deal. I do know that there's been times to where you've seen the car in the spot for a week and we'll talk to them about it and they say, what they do have number 2 there, they do have that 1 3-week stay and, and then they say, hey, we're doing our one stay
Yeah,
here.
we're under that.
Okay, yeah, fair. And so it's not something that when they come in, we check a box on the
Yeah,
date
I
and
was just
3
thinking,
days
is that
later.
then gonna end up being a headache for the office to
Time
take
to go.
care of?
Well, the question I had about it is that if we say that there's a time limit and then we say, oh, but if you stay longer, we're just gonna charge you. I mean, that kind of just makes it sound like there is no time limit. So why even have it?
Have it, yeah.
And $14
Either have a
is
time
bargain.
limit. or-
Right.
I don't know. That seems contradictory.
Yeah, it does. And as we went through it.
Your recommendation would be to do away with number 1?
Number 5.
Number 1, 2.
Well, yeah, it would be 1 and
D1,
5.
D5.
I would not be opposed to doing that at all. Like I said, as long as, and I don't know, maybe we can come up with something to fill that in.
To give you a little bit of, the problem, we will.
Okay,
I can
yeah,
think of 1 or
'cause-
2 that will abuse it,
And-
if we want to call that abuse.
Then we can always go back next year if it didn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, this is a living document, you can
Yeah,
change
yeah,
as you see
yeah.
fit, but, the problem, we go back and forth with, we call it seasonal, but if we're gonna go ahead and make it perpetual, then there's no reason to call any of it seasonal. Because we're basically saying, move it out there and stay whenever you want, however you want, you know what I mean? And so,
Let's just open 6 months during the year.
yeah, I know, but,
I think that because this is effective in a few days, you may not want to make major changes to the document today, but perhaps for the next time, for next
Okay.
year. But that number 5.
I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
It's a current provision in the current contracts, or the current agreement that we have.
So are you thinking just cross off number 5 and then if they're staying over, just, it's time to go home?
Either that or make both of those changes on the next go round.
Okay.
I mean, because we do have it in there now.
Yeah.
In the contract that they already have signed.
And I think it was, yeah, in the old one, it was it stated it the same way, it just said, I
Right.
think it was $7.
So that might be something that, if you wanna take it out, we do it the
Okay.
next time.
Okay.
One and 5 goes together.
Yeah.
Number 5 could just be up to the dollar amount.
Well, that's what he already did.
Well, that's still, that's not very much.
Yeah.
Well, I pull in, like, that's a board, if I gotta pull off the road for a night and stop at even Love's Campground, I've got my own trailer, my own stuff, everything, $50.
Yeah.
Is that what they're up to?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still.
A hotel room is 100, or
Yeah.
you can get a cheaper one for 80, you can get one where you worry about your life for 60. But
Bed bugs for
50
55.
bucks, and then I still own all my own stuff for that extra night that I need, because I can't quite make it to where I need to get to.
Well, I guess all these rules that we're talking about all gets down to dollars and cents. That's what it's for.
But you make it to where it's not so convenient, but if you needed to, you could do it.
Right. And Dave wants to give somebody a carrot, so I just would rather give them let them a couple times stay 3 weeks stay.
So what if you did 2
2, 3
3-week
weeks.
2, 3
periods?
weeks.
Two, you know, and I
Up to
think
2.
that,
There you go.
yeah, I think
So
that
just
might,
revise that.
Makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
That'd be an easy
Yeah.
Easy fix.
yeah.
That's a good idea.
And then run with this, and if you got a bad actor, we'll up that other dollar amount.
Yeah, we'll do that then.
Well, and that's kind of, I guess where I give back to,
How does that affect you?
no, that's great, because at the end of the day, I think maybe someone overstaying, it's been an issue, I think, twice, and most of that is when someone's like either doing construction. From what I've kind of dealt with, someone's doing a project on their house, and they're just trying to get away for a while, or something like that, and that's normally about the only time that we've ran into that, and they've just paid, at the time, it was $7 a day for how many days over they stayed, and it was the same as our camping rates, and we just ran with it that way.
Nobody rents out their house to a stranger.
No. And so, and I mean, and that's kind of, so that's how we've ran it, and it really has not been an issue. And that's why I think even if you did end up in the future getting rid of that, how many nights you could say, I don't think it would be abused, but I would be worried about someone saying, hey, I'm out here full time from the beginning of the season to the end without leaving once. I don't think you'd necessarily
The only
want
one that I can think of who's unusual is domestic case. And I know for a fact that he, when they separated, he went out there and just stayed.
Yeah.
He had no place else to go, and he had no money, and.
You'd have an habitual or two.
Yeah.
There's
But
no doubt about it.
You always make, a lot of times you're not making these rules for the people you have.
Right. Well, and
It's for the
that's
change that's
yeah,
coming.
that's very true too.
And that's what I was just getting ready to ask him. Did we ask him, or did we ask you, Isaac, have you seen any, what you think might be B&B or Airbnbs, stayers in the campers? I mean, in these mobile homes?
I have not.
Okay.
That is something that
But
I
I'm-
have not dealt with.
I'm just wondering how that's coming. I mean, it's.
So there is
It's
something,
in our agreement.
yes, it is addressed in here.
Okay.
Yes.
They're not allowed to.
They are not
lease
allowed
out
to do it.
or
Okay.
rent out their-
Okay, I think we have a compromise on number
Yeah.
2. We do
Okay.
So number-
single, it's up to 2.
Two periods.
Up to 3 weeks.
Okay, and then keep everything else as is for now.
That's what I'm reading from the commission.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be happy with that.
Now,
We made Dave happy.
Is it 2-3 weeks?
Up to 2
Right.
continuous 3-week
Yeah.
periods.
Does that allow them to go for 6 then?
Yeah.
Because you got no separation
you can
between
go back
the
to
2-3
back.
weeks.
And is that a concern?
Well, I'm just wondering. I'm asking the question.
I haven't thought of that, but I'm thinking of it. I mean, it just.
Do they need to be gone for the 3 or 4
Like, maybe
days
burn
like
them all
they
at
do?
one time, so they could burn them all at one time.
Yeah, so you're actually staying there for a month and a half?
Yeah. but that's a maximum, that's not all summer.
Right, yeah, I'm just wondering,
That's
do
still
you,
not all.
does it break it up where you have, so you have 5 days, 2 days?
But that makes, I think, keep a ledger. He's gotta have a
That's another thing.
spreadsheet.
Do you, are you
Get a
concerned
lot more
about
policing
that?
involved.
Okay.
Unless it happens, if something, see how that happens, if somebody,
Yeah.
let's try it, and let's see
Well,
what
I
happens.
see.
And
It's
see.
not difficult to change to make it
Yeah.
non-consecutive with
Yeah.
so many weeks between if we needed to, but
Well, and to
I
be
would
a-
hate to make him go out there and
Yeah.
keep track.
I'm just gonna, I assumed something in here, something's gonna come up probably this upcoming summer to where we highlight it and say, hey, we're gonna have to change this next year.
Yep.
On Monday morning,
It's
to
a,
do a head
like Brad
count.
said, it's a living document.
Yes.
All right, next.
So we, if, on that same page, if you move down to C, it'd be the CI, I guess. So we did kind of stick to, it's a little different, but still did a deposit to where if they say, hey, we are gonna have this for next year, they can pay, they pay a $200 deposit then, which would do the November before, and then that would go towards their next year's rent, and that lets us know that they plan on keeping that spot.
And I didn't know which quarters you wanted
Yeah,
to put them
there was a
on. or
blank
which-
still, and
there's
I
no
knew that
way.
was you guys, so I left it alone.
Or do you wanna let them choose?
That, well, and that's what I was gonna do. And I know like in the old lease agreement, similar deal, we could kind of fill that in, and if they bought it, that was kind of where I left it blank, cause if they, let's say they bought that in the middle of the year, just to kind of keep things even, we could fill that in as we needed to, or like you said, if they wanted it to go towards the second quarter or the second half, then we could mark that, and we would.
It's not gonna be too hard to track.
It shouldn't be with the document that we have, but if it does get difficult, then I guess that's something we can change. We've never done a deposit before, so that's gonna be different for us altogether. But I do not think, I was looking at, I don't think it should be a problem. I mean, we should be able to get that figured out.
Good.
Let's see.
Just looking at it, if it was me, I'd put the deposit down and just cash carry it. And that way then the following year, my $200 is still there. I just keep paying the $450 and then.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so then
Gives them that option.
everything else has kind of stayed the same on the next page from the old one. Down on H, the mobile home requirements, site setup and maintenance. This was one I kind of wanted your guys' opinions on, number 19. So,
Oh, this, I don't think that his numbers are right.
They're not.
Yeah.
1 to
Yeah,
18 to
jumped.
19.
Yeah.
I had that highlighted. I was just gonna change that. But number 19 there, I know we talked about height. So I talked to Sharon and Brad and I talked to this. I have 13'6" there. That is the legal, what do I wanna say?
Down the road.
To haul.
That is the maximum height that you can have to haul down the road, and that is where that number came from. If we do want it lower, we can lower it, but that was just the max height, so they couldn't go over that to where if we ever.
That's a good rule to follow.
Okay.
That makes it portable,
Yeah.
not permanent.
Right.
Good.
On the following page, number 20, I guess 20, to be kind of 25 and 26.
We're
So,
getting these numbers in.
The one, that's what the numbers we have.
So on page 5,
on page 5, number 25
I
and.
don't have page numbers.
Yeah, you do at the very
They're
bottom
at
of the
the
page, bottom right.
So it should still be under the mobile home requirements, site setup and maintenance.
Do you have another printed copy, Brad?
I gave
Then
one.
they have to
Maybe,
share.
maybe you can share with Randy.
It's under mobile home requirements, site
Okay,
setup,
okay.
maintenance, 25. Well, yours, you have different numbers on there. Seasonal camper sentence.
So maybe those numbers on the computer are
Is-
right.
Unless you renumbered it when I
We're
said
missing.
so.
No.
Our numbers are missing, 2 through 17.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is accurate, because it was missing two. So I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I
didn't
printed
change
this
that.
document
Yeah.
straight off the one you sent me, so
Yeah.
it should be the same as, it
Should
should
be.
be the same as what you
Yeah,
guys have,
exactly.
because I had.
He's got it, he just wasn't over far enough.
Okay, so 25 and 26, the way the old lease agreement read, it said that if you were storing material under your trailer, so like some people have kayaks under there, whatever the case is, if you're storing anything under the trailer, it must be skirted. We kind of changed that to make skirting on these mobile homes and trailers required. It just, personally, it cleans everything up. Whether there's stuff stored under there or not, it keeps critters and all of that stuff out from underneath there. And it is something that I do think would make the park as a whole just, I mean, it's an aesthetic thing, really, more than anything. But that would be a change, and we do have, because I think right now there's 4 out there that are not skirted. So we do have that, the ones that are not skirted must comply by January 1st of 2025, so that would give them
A year.
yeah, the year to get that skirted.
Haven't we allowed some 20-foot trailers in there and for workers and things like that?
So, and that would kind of go back,
So the number 1.
yeah,
It
number
says
1.
Between 15 and 60 feet.
So, there's 2 lots, which would be, I know
10
it
and
goes from
12.
1 to 18, but number 18 talks about those 2 lots, 10 fishermen and 12 fishermen.
Okay.
They do have a smaller lot than everybody else. And I do know, so kind of there was one on the corner there that was never used, and we did allow people to stay, like you're talking about. Somebody brought a smaller camper in there now, and they are using it, so we just, as a regular mobile home lease, because it was small enough, so we've,
Well, my word is the regular camper that has to do it, regular homeowner has to do that, is he gonna cry that we are not making this person in these little campers do it?
so
They're doing it.
they're gonna have to do
Okay.
it too. And that's kind of, because the one that was on the corner, they signed at the time the old lease, and they're running it the exact same as everybody else. It's just smaller. But yeah, I do think they should need to have to skirt them too. I think everybody should have
And while
to.
you're on that topic, it's been flexible enough now that you can literally pull in there with something that's 7 by 15 and it's allowable. That's the smallest
Yeah.
we can go, but it's still gonna require, there's been no change to things like skirting or any
Okay.
other requirements.
Okay. On the, so that would have been page 5. On page 6, number 4, this was something that we talked about at one point, and I changed it to write it in there, and if we don't want to allow it, that's okay too. So on the temporary decks, we used to require, it said a 14 by 8 max platform could be erected at the entrance door. I took that 14 by 8 and instead of having it 14 by 8, just made it 112 square foot. So they could do that as they want. Then it also said that they could have a 4 by 6 platform with steps and a handrail erected at their back door or their side door. And I just took those numbers and turned it into a square footage instead of those exact dimensions. If we want to keep the dimensions, that we can go back to that. But that was a change from previous till now.
What's your recommendation? You're happy with this?
Yeah, I am, but either way, that was a change that I did. So if someone wanted to, instead of doing a 4 by 6, if they wanted to do a 3 by 8 on their side door,
Yeah.
it doesn't, I mean, and once again, all of this stuff has to be approved before any kind of construction, so it's not like they can go in and just do something crazy without talking to us first.
Yeah.
And I would not be opposed to that.
Any concerns? Oh, okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Says that the length has to be with the length of the trailer, so they can't build an 8-foot
Yeah,
platform.
right, they can't go out instead of just along the side.
It spells it out right there.
1 foot wide.
Yeah, 1 foot wide and 8 foot long. Building the bridge for my neighbors.
And I think as far as any major changes, that was it, besides this last one, which was one that I wanted to get commission's kind of opinion on, and that would be the very first page, A, definitions, mobile homes, right on the front. So this is something that I'm sure, once again, is gonna maybe have to be changed or looked at in the future. So after we have been talking, I do have one trailer owner that is very, very interested in the tiny home idea. And he came in and we visited on Friday before Christmas about this, and he has all of his quotes and everything put together. His question is with these tiny homes now, you can get them completely finished, you can get a shell, you can get them partially finished. His question is could he get one and then finish it on site? Does it have to be completely finished when he brings it out on site? Would that have to be on a trailer, or are skids okay? And he had all these questions that I told him, we really haven't gotten that far into discussion, but.
What is Sharon doing?
Huh?
Shouldn't Sharon make it up rules about tiny houses? From planning and zoning?
But I was just out, so, I mean, just speaking
Yeah,
with my own,
yeah.
it would need to have wheels, because your trailer house comes in on wheels.
And it says that it has to be roadworthy at all times,
Yeah.
so I would think
So
you
it
have
has
to
to
stay on a
match
trailer.
that terminology.
Well, and like he said too, I mean, realistically, and he brought this up and I hadn't thought about it with these, but if it was something that we are going to start allowing, those skids, they're what, 12 inches, 6 inches, some of them, they're gonna have to be able to get underneath there to work on their plumbing and their water to connect and disconnect. So somehow, some way, they're gonna have to be raised up. And so, none of this is in here, which was kind of one of those things that once he started talking to me about it, I kind of started thinking about it, because on this, it does include the tiny homes on trailers. And so, and that is what we talked about, as long as it's under that 13'6" requirement, and it is on a trailer with wheels, is what would be.
Should there be a maximum? Because I saw 2 or 3 when I was working over in Hillsborough being built there. Should there be a maximum length for this tiny home?
There would be.
So, and that's kind of the way they would, yes, they would be
house.
required to follow the same size requirements that are in
But
here.
if they pull a 50-footer in,
Right?
that's a,
It won't fit the lot.
oh, well, some of them will.
Yeah.
Well,
some of them will.
most of the lots are spelled out, so the
Yeah.
exceptions that he has are already listed here
10
separately.
and 12 fishermen.
Yeah, so they can't be any longer than 52 and 10 and 12. But the rest can be up to 60.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I incorporated 584202 in terms of the requirements of it into this section. That's gonna limit those right now based on how it's written, but bear in mind that that can always change mid-year with the legislature. And so we're saying whatever it is currently, we're gonna observe. And that's why I pointed out earlier, you can get a tiny home, somebody can build a 8x20 or 8x15, and it's appropriate based on what we've said to be able to put that in. But 4202 is gonna make them put wheels underneath it. It's gotta be something that's roadworthy, so you can't just skid that thing in there and slide it up.
So I've got an 80-foot trailer sitting in Peabody, and somebody wants to come along and buy it and chop it to 40 and redo it, and it's 14 foot wide or 16. What are we gonna do when they pull in this lake?
Isaac will call, and I'll say, well,
Okay.
your current regulations don't prohibit that. and I
Okay.
Take it before your board.
Okay.
And
But yeah, it's a good
I'm
point.
just throwing it out that it's possible that can happen.
And the counter there is exactly what do we do? Because to anticipate each and every instance, and people, You know, as long as people
Try
are
something.
alive, they've got an imagination, and this happens everywhere.
Yeah,
They do this
yeah.
stuff.
Amazing time, people putting so much time trying to cheat the system.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, it's got wheels and it's ready to pull
Yeah.
in a ton and everything, if somebody.
Needs dimension.
But
Yeah.
what we can control is the aesthetics. I mean,
Yes.
aesthetics is typically, it's based on who
What do you
thinks
think
it's
of-
pretty,
yeah.
right? But you have an elected board that can be the judge and jury on an aesthetics. So they can be brought forward, each and every one of these that is non-typical, tiny home, mobile home,
Yeah.
could be brought forward for review and an approval.
Well, that kind of comes back to the degree of completion.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not opposed to somebody bringing one in that the exterior is totally complete.
Yeah, yeah, right,
Finish it,
yes.
but
Finish it on
As long as,
site.
and then they're not leaving a bunch of C&D outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their envelope remains clean.
Right. And then kind of like what we talked about, and it's in here too, is if someone did do that, then we would hire somebody to come in and do an inspection of the work, to where it's not
Electrical and hook up.
electrical and
yeah, oh, yeah.
water and all of that stuff, so we know that we're not having a liability there.
Yeah.
But, and that, Randy, kind of to answer your question, that would be the same thing, if someone did that, chopped it up, and brought it out there, you know.
Mhm. And then
That's where you
also
put on the
who's,
deal where it has to have an inspection
Inspection.
on the tiny homes.
Yeah.
Because the mobile homes come with a stamp.
A stamp, which is required in here, yeah. And
So
then-
the tiny home would have to, it doesn't have the stamp, it has to get a
Visual inspection.
if you add that we're gonna inspect it, then I also want to think that whoever's bringing it out should bear the charge for the
Yes.
inspection.
Of the inspection,
Mhm.
yes, and I
Isn't that in
believe
here?
that is in
Okay.
here, yes, yes,
I
that,
think you guys
the
said that.
cost of the inspection is on the owner.
Did you updated the sections on like the insurance, like C-section, whatever, because
I did, I went in there and I filled that up to make the sections and the numbers match, like where you said C.
And then there were some that I ended up changing around, so I changed them again.
Okay.
They should still match. Other than that one set of numbers, because I wasn't sure what we were doing there.
The numbers was the only thing that I saw that definitely needed to be corrected, but
Overall formatting, just to clean it up as well in
Yeah.
terms of indentation.
It's a really good point, Randy, because I've seen a lot of really nice container homes, connexes, but they don't finish the envelope. The envelope needs to be finished. It's what affects everybody else. You can live in the Taj Mahal inside your four walls and then make everybody else suffer. It's not okay.
All right, next, Isaac.
that was pretty much
Good job.
it for me, unless there was anything that you guys had any other questions about.
I invite you back next year in December 1st.
Yeah.
No,
No.
Let's start October first.
October 1st.
What worked and what didn't?
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be, especially with how different this is from the old one, I'm sure there's gonna be some things that come up to where we're gonna have to address moving forward, but I do feel very
What's
good
that?
about where we're at with
One I
this.
would point out that you guys, I'm gonna give you credit for that, because I didn't put it in there, but I thought it was great. On page 8, the grandfathered units are subject to a 3-year
Yes.
inspection.
Yes, I saw that. And
So,
that
and
is-
that was something we kind of talked about.
Yeah, I
So,
thought that was great.
and I don't know what, didn't really talk about it, but like, for example, there's 2 right now, mobile homes that, in the 5 years that I've been there, I have never met the owner.
Mhm.
They pay rent on time,
Mhm.
but they never come out. And,
Sorry.
and so, and I mean, and that was one that Tina and I talked about, because kind of the way it states is if they don't take care of the property, we take care of it and bill them for it, and we bill them for it and they pay it, and, but I've never met them in person.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't know, at some point, I guess the concern is what is going on?
What's going on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so then this way we can at least make sure there's not something in there chewing up wires or.
Got wild animals living.
So what,
inside.
you got an inspection in here, but you have no corrective
Yeah,
action?
you do.
Okay.
Starting with O and going to the end, the things you had said, not sure how much of that you want in there. I put those in
I see
to
an
give.
F, but I don't see any.
It's the, at the very end of it, starting about page what, 10 or
Oh,
so.
okay, yeah, but that's pets.
Well, I'm just saying those where I started.
No.
We don't have any regulatory environment, remember, again, we don't have jurisdictional control beyond the fact that it's the county on certain things that we don't typically control either.
I think this is supposed to be 100,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I put some provisions in there, because everybody's got pets out there. And we've had those phone calls recently about a menacing animal and that kind of thing. So I stuck those in, I stuck the force majeure things in, indemnification went in there, and a general section that if Isaac just gets mad at him, he has the ability to kick him out and say he can't come back.
Mine was actually targeted at the grandfathered units, the
Yeah.
3 years, the inspection. There's nothing that says that, okay.
What happens if they
Yeah,
don't?
if
have
it's
it?
actually, that's
a
good
corrective
point.
measure.
Yeah, I
The-
think, I
and how
thought there
much-
was
how much time
something
they have to
corrective
make that
measure that they
correction.
had. I thought we had that.
Yeah, the other thing.
I
I
did
thought it was
too.
like 90 days or 60 days.
So we did have that in a different section.
Yeah.
I know I didn't take it out, because once I saw that. and then I
Number
did-
7A, Tina.
So it needs,
So
7A.
page two,
So I was looking for the other inspection.
it
here.
just says
Yeah.
grandfathered unit may be required to be moved if it is determined to be structurally deficient.
could
Maybe
add-
move that.
And then here's a corrective within 60 days, that's what I
Yeah.
remember seeing.
okay, so.
You've got a correction.
Page
or a
two,
cure period.
number 7A.
And then, so on F down there, you just put the reference to.
Yeah,
7A.
yeah, we can do that.
And then the other thing, you said it a while ago, Brad, but I don't know if you got it in this, or Tina, or you guys did, is what if there's the weird situation? Who's it go to?
So far, it's, most everything in here references Isaac, basically, and his role as staff.
Okay, could that come clear from him through us to us then? Is what
Yeah,
I'm getting at.
ultimately it would, if their appeal process generally under the statutes is from these department heads to you.
Okay.
I did not, I took that out expressly, this entire appeal thing, I did not want to formalize that in here, because I'd like that to be a minimized feature, so that you don't suddenly have 20 of these coming to you regularly, because they don't necessarily like the fact that now they're being controlled a bit more than they have been, and staff is having to tell them to do some things, says, no, this is what you signed, well, I don't like it. And then I'm gonna appeal each and every time. I've had that happen in certain instances.
I was talking about when he gets in trouble, I guess, and
Yeah.
and you're talking, if they don't like the trouble they're gonna get to, then they wanna come to us directly and bypass him, which see two different routes here.
Yep.
Just causes him grief is what it
Yeah.
does.
Mhm.
I know we address pets as plural here, but it mostly refers to dogs and cats.
Yeah.
That's
You know, a lot of people, I hate to say it, but a lot of people have reptiles.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about that, I
I
think.
mean, you
is-
want a python getting loose in the lake?
So
I
we-
can
or
put this section
alligator.
in, but this sucker starts to get to be 20 pages.
So
in
Tina and I
I
talked
know
about
it's
that.
overbearing, but it just seems like,
Yeah.
If we
you know,
wanted,
that's what caused the issue in Florida.
All
A
pets
pet.
must be kept on a leash.
Including the python.
Including the python.
So if you can
Or
do
your
a leash on
pop-up
a
fish.
python.
Nowadays.
Or your
And
chicken.
that's an example.
I've seen alligators on a leash.
That's a pet.
Yeah. What's his name?
It says no vicious pets, right, doesn't it?
Right.
yes. it
And I
does.
can
So-
define pets as, but, you know, do we want to say we're just not gonna let you keep a,
A prey animal? No,
Yeah.
just kidding, dogs are actually
Got my pet,
Yeah,
they're
it's
like
you tell-
predators.
got my
Right.
pet, got my pet muskrat.
But Kent, there's a reptile farm going in at Burns. I mean, they're putting a reptile farm in
Yeah.
at Burns.
Cats are predators.
Right?
Yeah.
So that you can't remember.
We don't need another Everglades.
All right, any other issues the commissioners see, or anything else?
Do you
you'd
want
like
us to
bring up?
address that? And I see the point, I just.
I mean, it seems kind of ridiculous, but nowadays I'm not sure.
Yeah. I kept it to the basic dog and cat thing on purpose.
We
but-
talked, I know you had a note in there when you sent this to me that said, do we want to
Yeah,
define what
I
pets
saw that.
are or aren't allowed? And I was,
Any
I just tried
other
to-
forms of pets or inhabitants in the house shall be brought to the lake owner's attention.
I can do it, and I can define it. Let's see, we've got your typical bovine, equine, you know, I can go through the wines, and I can also go through aviary kinds of things. It'll add a section that's about 3/4 of a page long, but that covers what the cities typically do in all of theirs.
Your typical pet, and then anything you label as a pet.
Yeah.
So it can get pretty broad.
It just says they must
Like
be
pet falcon.
registered.
Yeah, they gotta let him know.
They have to have proof
Brought
of
'em out
current
to the lake to take care of the
inoculations,
geese.
covered by the insurance, must be leashed when outdoors. We have 2 sections on pets.
yeah.
L and O both have pets.
Oh, I'm sorry, I added this, the last
Scooters,
part of it. just-
electric and or gas powered scooters are not
Yeah, this is
permitted
the
in
one
the
for the
campground.
leashing.
And the scooter, okay.
I'm trying to figure out why that ban was ever put on.
Years ago, probably.
And it says absolutely no aggressive or vicious animals are
Because
permitted.
they wipe out on the speed bumps.
Not cared for in compliance with these terms.
Yeah, but they
I
take
think
up
we
less room.
don't
Take
want
this
that.
out.
So if you're gonna bring up a second car to drive into town or whatever, or just to cruise around the lake, wouldn't it be better to have a scooter or something fits in the shed?
Would that
Yeah,
be
'cause when I
under
started,
50
it was-
cc rules back
Yeah.
then? Probably?
Yeah, if it was under 50.
Under 50 cc.
Back.
Under 50 cc's technically classifies it as a
Don't have to have your
non-license.
Yeah.
And that's why moped used to come out with pedals
Yes.
at 49 cc's.
Yeah.
And they've changed all that to the, it's a horse, the pull power, they use a different term than horsepower. And now they also make the mopeds get registered and licensed as well, which we just.
You want us to get rid of that,
years.
don't you?
I was just wondering what caused that. It
I don't-
That was just in one of those agreements, and I think that Isaac and I had taken that out, the
Yeah.
scooters, and we just put that bicycles and scooters needed to be stored.
Kind of
in the
included the,
shed,
yeah,
like-
kind of included.
Oh, are not permitted in the campground. That's what it says.
I know
Right.
that wasn't there on our.
Yeah,
version.
I did that,
And
and the
this-
reason I did is that in several of the others, those Christmas time, these kids get those that are so low, you're in a truck, you and I can't see them, all you'll feel is the bump. And so I wanted those things, I mean, and a lot of people bring them out there and let the kids run around on them. Well, how much of that do you want to allow and where do you want to allow it?
Don't you have a legal driving age?
Yes, but I also, again, that's on all the thoroughfares and roadways, and it's prohibited activity in the campsite area. If you want to let them do that, then I'll take that section back out.
Well, I just, somebody's legally allowed to drive one, isn't that kind of like lake life? Isn't that kind of something along like beach life, lake life? I mean, I don't know, I'm not gonna jump on a scooter, but
I would be fine, I'd be fine having that as long as it kind of followed the golf cart requirements as to where whoever is operating it has to have a valid license.
yeah, I would.
And that would make me feel better about it.
On
the
just the public
scooters.
thoroughfares, but also on private property, because we don't necessarily,
Yeah, well,
we
that
can
kinda-
control
yeah,
it,
that
but
kinda
the
changes.
sheriff's department won't.
Yeah.
That's what I ran into there.
Oh, and I don't wanna throw a hiccup, I just.
Yeah, no.
And if
No,
it-
it's
it's a good
something that
point.
was just looked at.
I'm
Yeah.
just,
And I know you guys took it out and I'm the one who's.
Well, and I know too, I think that was something very similar was in the old one, but,
Yeah.
and I also know, especially like, just with everything that's out there now, it's a lot different than it was probably when
Yeah.
that old lease was written.
Yeah.
Oh, and some of your scooters used to be a bop, 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 bop.
Yeah, right, and that's the same
Yeah.
with bikes, there's a lot of people come out there with the electric bikes now. And,
Yeah,
those are
ride
pretty
the bike,
popular.
ride.
Sure.
It's just kind of becoming,
More of a decibel thing.
They're
Yeah.
quiet and they move along pretty good.
yeah, they
But the
do.
thing I've always thought about, even motorcycles, is,
Yeah, but
yeah,
you can
I
follow
don't find
it.
myself wanting to be on them, but when I see somebody riding one, I don't fear for my life.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they're not going to injure me
I would.
unless they really catch me by surprise.
Yeah, we had taken out the section on motorcycles,
I
speed
wouldn't be
limit,
opposed
just
to
to
getting
say
rid of
follow
that.
all opposed to speed limits.
Yeah.
We were gonna take out the alcoholic beverages because it's already all addressed in the lake rules.
Yeah, and that's another thing, you've got
And
your
the
lake
fireworks.
rules as well. It's just when you separate them this way again, that all goes back out and you've got a
So,
separate.
does somebody that signs this know that they also gotta?
It
abide
says
by
so
the
right
rules?
on the very
Okay,
front
good.
page.
All right, good enough.
So scooters would have to fit golf
On that
carts and
application,
bicycles.
That will be distributed to you.
Yeah, okay. So I think,
Oh, no, but golf carts has the headlights, tail lights.
Mhm. Some require the slow moving vehicle, some, but I'm not sure if that's gonna do much.
I just wonder how you, if you had a legally tagged scooter,
Yeah.
how do you stop that?
If it's legally tagged,
That, we don't,
Yeah.
at that point.
Then it wouldn't matter.
No.
Then it's
And-
actually.
right. And I know, like, I mean, just from what I've seen out there, that would be my big concern is if, you know, if you had a 10-year-old kid on a scooter on Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah.
And that, we deal with it with golf
Right.
carts frequently.
Side by sides too.
Yeah, golf carts side by side, yeah, we deal with that frequently, and the last thing I'd want is the scooters out there, you know, with kids operating scooters on, but I would not be opposed to allowing them if whoever is operating them has a valid driver's license, at all. But the kids, it's the kids and the you know, that
Yeah.
really kind of make me nervous from time to time, especially on busy weekends and things like that, but.
Right.
Once
So-
again, where they're riding them and all of that does make a difference if they're riding them in the grass somewhere off to the side, but once they're, you know, if they're on Lake Shore when the traffic's busy and things like that.
And that kind of leads to my question, because we hadn't talked about that one, I completely forgot to ask you. If we define it by someone who can operate it, who's legally licensed to operate any motor vehicle.
Yeah.
Then it's okay, they don't have any lights, it's a black little scooter, they're wearing all black. They can go day or night 24/7 on the roadways, because we don't have anything that says you can't.
Right.
And that's where it came up with me and why I reinserted that.
Yeah.
Even those little toy, we can solve part of it if it's also a vehicle that's licensed to be operated on a public thoroughfare. I can stick that in, and that is gonna limit.
Well, just,
what you
Yeah.
can do.
just underneath that one, you just put exemption if it's titled and tagged.
Tagged, yeah, for public use or
Then they're allowed
public thoroughfare use.
by,
I figure we'll put that.
I think the goal is to get a legally licensed driver on anything.
Yeah. And that's probably the biggest issue that I have with the golf carts and the side-by-sides as it is right now, yeah.
Okay, so the consensus is the scooters are in with the exception of if they're legally.
the exception is if they're permitted to be on any roadway because they're tagged, then
It's okay.
they're allowed. You can't just bring out a
Okay.
gift for Christmas and let it go raise hell.
Go crazy. Is that a consensus?
I'd like to thank all three people here that's worked on this, because it is something that. Will all three people be back next year?
You can't get a tag without license and blinkers.
That will solve that. We're gonna get people complaining, because, you know, that's what I come out here for, is a vacation. I wanna let my kid ride around on their little electric unit. Well, the problem with that is everybody else is out there driving too. And I don't know how
On the
to-
part of the driveway. they can-
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Pets, did you get a resolution on pets?
We're gonna recombine those two.
I mean, if it's an alligator, it's on the leash.
It's on a leash, as long as you can restrain it.
If it's off the leash, then Isaac can take care of it.
Sort of.
Scoop it up. Keep a 45 in the floorboard for the copperheads, you might as well keep it for anything else.
Put it on your electric bike basket. Okay, any other issues?
I have a question, because you put in that section on abandonment, and now you've got a section in here on vehicles that talks about abandoned and all
Yes,
this stuff.
and intentionally, because some of the, we really run into an issue because a lot of these mobile homes are just that. And they are titled, and they have a tag. And if they affix them to the property, which we don't allow, then it becomes a residence. So it changes. But then there's also personal property that isn't tagged, licensed, or in any other way, you may get a bill of sale. I wanted to be able to have two different sections, one for vehicles, because the stuff that gets abandoned is sitting by the side there that I get a call about, I gotta get rid of it somehow. Well, there is a statutory scheme for how I have to do that in order to get a replacement title and get ownership of it so I can get rid of it. Otherwise, if we just try to haul it off to even our transfer station, if they're following the law, they're gonna go, take that thing out of here and cut it into about 100 pieces.
And then bring it back.
And then bring it back. Well, I've run into that over and over again. I don't want that problem. So I've set up one section that deals with exactly what we'll do with personal property and really vehicles as well, and it mirrors the statute. And then I set up another section for one of those mobile homes and or stuff sitting around there, or a shed or something else, because there's no bills of sale, there's no titles, there's no nothing. So that's why they duplicate.
Shouldn't it all be under abandoned?
I can.
Instead of
I
other
left, yeah,
vehicles?
yeah, it would be more logical, I suspect, but I was going back through the statutes in Kansas on where am I gonna stub my toe, and so I kept them separate to start with intentionally.
So maybe if we move this section back, like under that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more
section,
logical, I agree with you.
It'll make more
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Same thing happens at a tax sale. If you got
Yeah.
vehicles on this property, but you bought the property, now you gotta deal with the vehicles and start
Yeah.
charging rent in order to obtain a title, to get rid of them.
You have to take possession, you have to publish.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that the way we've done this, but to take possession, you have to hold it for 30, then you have to publish, and then wait another 15.
Yeah.
And then you can get a title, which takes another 30 days,
Yeah.
at least, and then some.
And all the while, the city is billing you for mowing.
Yeah.
Because you haven't mowed around this thing.
And he's got everything, Isaac has to have it in some secure location that we're bonded for, so that it's actually, we're fiduciary. If something happens to it, we're responsible, and suddenly an old 1968 Cadillac is worth $2 million.
Oh, yeah,
So,
We got the abandonment address. Tina, are you finding some other?
Just terminology,
Okay.
and this is not a sentence here, so I think it's just extra words.
There was a
Right.
couple of those I
Yeah.
talked to, Tina.
Okay, we can,
yeah.
those are just,
You're right.
and none of this has been proofread by my So,
Okay, well, are we to a point where we can approve?
Make a motion to approve pending text
Revisions.
revisions.
Because we've got all of the issues are addressed. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gearing. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Dalkey. So we've got the Marion County Park and Lake terms and conditions for mobile home campsite use. Pending staff. I don't quite know.
Revision.
Revisions
That's all
as
it's true.
discussed. Further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Thank you, all three of you, for a tremendous amount of work.
Isaac, I'll probably try to finish by tomorrow morning. I know we talked about you being there too.
Yeah.
And then we get it to Tina and her proofreader, and I guarantee they'll make
Perfect.
changes.
Perfect.
so you're gonna do it tomorrow on Saturday? Okay.
Yeah, and then check with Isaac, we'll do a phone conference.
Yeah, I'll be in the office tomorrow too, so it won't.
Send it to you guys.
Okay, I'm just trying to see if these are supposed to go out.
It's still the 29th. I can try to at least get
I
some
can
of
send it
those.
to my proofreaders first,
Okay.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea.
because then
Yeah.
it might be more
If
complete.
they could
Yeah.
get through it today.
I think we
then
could get through it
try to
today and
finish
get it
tomorrow.
to you guys to.
That would be great.
Okay.
Cherry will make it bleed, you know she
Yes.
will.
And Jennifer is coming
Yeah,
along
yeah.
as well. just
I now
so-
hired
Are
a
you emailing
proofreader
these
also.
or sending them?
These, I'll probably do both, a lot of them, but,
We
I'll
need
put 'em
to
in
also
mail.
take that application form, because you're gonna need that right away too, and make sure
That
all
front
those
page.
changes.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you have that in
No,
Word?
yes,
Because
yes.
if you could send that I can have,
Okay.
we can fix that
Okay.
application page.
What's that gonna cost per?
It is.
You can do in front and back, so it'd be like 7 sheets of paper total.
You can still mail that with one stamp, right?
I doubt it.
No, I don't think so.
Nothing goes with one
I was
stamp.
gonna say,
Yeah,
I know
make it
the
a little
lease
thick.
or the rent notice was $37, I think is what it ended up costing on those. I only needed one for those.
Yeah.
It'll also get a little thick now that I think about it with the pet thing too.
I opened a can of worms.
Can you
Yeah,
have a
by
worm
far.
as a pet? I'm just curious.
No,
I think so.
Gotta have it on a leash.
You get a leash on it.
As long as you can put a leash on it. Little Velcro.
Oh,
Oh, dear.
Or just
Okay.
super glue toothpick to it.
Time to go.
So wrong.
Well, thank you, Isaac.
Is that the only thing that we're?
Mhm. That, the application, I understood.
Cool.
It's about 4.
That's all, Captain Winslow. All right, any other issues on the lake department?
I do have electrical bids, but if
Okay.
you guys would prefer me just to come back next week, we can do it next week, or we can do it now. I didn't know.
That
if
was
you-
not on the agenda, so I
Yeah,
think
that's
it
what I was
might be,
gonna say.
since it's a bid, it'd
Yeah.
probably be better to do it next.
Save it Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
You got it all broke out, bids,
Yes.
numbers.
Yes.
People like this.
Good sheet.
Just,
Did you do a summary page?
No, I don't. You want me to do that?
yeah, that simplifies it.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Simple as good.
And also just the sections you're bidding on, just a rough drawing, just a rough.
Okay.
Yeah, what you're doing to that
The
section.
map.
Okay, yeah.
Map.
Scope. Yep, we can do that. Yeah, that's it.
And then we would have the revised final version. Very good. All right, we'll plan
All
to
right.
see you Tuesday.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Okay, Brad, we had,
Actually, it's at the campsite agreement, the other contractual things we're gonna discuss after that. We talked about those other items. I think everything else, there's another executive, I understand.
For 10 minutes for property.
Yeah, then you've got a apply list for the day.
okay,
And I did have a personnel discussion on there.
yes.
So that'd be an executive session,
That's the one we would be to now.
or we could move that to the very end, it doesn't matter.
Since it's on the agenda, let's stick with the personnel discussion. How long would you like?
For sure 15.
Okay. If we need more, we can come back.
Okay.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss,
This is hiring, or it has to do with personnel hiring.
personnel hiring pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel, with Commissioner Brad and Tina for 15 minutes from 11 o'clock to 11:15.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Polkey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We will be back at 11:15.
I had coffee this morning. It is not good for me to have coffee. It's crazy, I can drink Monsters all day, every day.
How
Coffee.
weird.
Messing me up.
I would think it'd be the same thing. Oops. Is she not gonna
Privacy mode.
press
Gotta
it?
remember to look up.
Why take the pen? Flip the pages.
It started to turn around.
Hi, Randy.
Oh, okay. I keep clicking too many times.
Oh.
Gotta start the new year.
I don't know why it's looking at the blinds, but I probably did something.
Hello. Cameras.
Yoo-hoo.
There we go.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, I think we're on now.
Okay, magic word for cameras is you.
Yoo-hoo.
You.
Snap your fingers.
We are out of executive session, no decisions made. I would like to go back into another executive session, let's say 10 minutes. I move recess to executive session in order to review applications for the EMS director position pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel with Commission Brad and Tina for 10 minutes, 11:17 to 11:27.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We will be back at 11:27.
Stop. No decision?
We are out of executive session. No
Conference
decision-
will now be recorded.
Sorry.
We are out of executive session, no decisions made. We're ready to move into the county administrator discussion. I believe first we'd have an executive session on contract negotiations. How long would you like?
I think if you have 15 minutes for that, it should be ample
Okay.
for what we have left to do.
All right. I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss contract negotiations pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, consultation with our attorney-client privilege, Commission Brad and Tina for 15 minutes, be from 11:30 to 11:45.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We'll be back at 11:45.
Fill us out there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary. I've never seen that one
Dead
come on
center.
Unzoom a little bit.
We are, everything is on.
Oh, no, look at right there, look at that.
Yeah,
Look at
I'd
that.
zoom in even more.
Yeah.
That is scary. All right, we are out of executive session, no decisions made, but I believe the commission does have an action.
I would move to employ Tina Spencer as Marion County Administrator under the terms and conditions outlined and contained in the employment agreement to be dated and executed today, December 29, 2023, and effective February 1, 2024.
I second the motion. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say yes.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. And that motion did include the contract.
Yep.
Correct?
Mhm.
Terms and conditions.
And is that something that needs to be approved now or signed?
Yes. So that was in the motion, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Any discussion afterwards?
We had discussion before, but we're open for discussion afterwards too, yes.
This county commission has made some, a big step here with this, what you just brought up, and we voted on 5-0. And we're very proud to have Tina as our first administrator. I will tell you the background to this goes back quite a ways, this 5 commissioner stuff. And so, but a lot of my residents and people in my area do feel that once this commission has done this, that maybe it needs to go back to 3 county commissioners, like the old areas. So I just would like to make that known, that there is a lot of people that, once this was put into place, that they thought maybe it needs to go back to 3. So that's just my 2 cents worth. And Tina, congratulations.
Yeah.
I echo that.
The other thing is, I believe, Chairman has a press release.
Yes, we have a press release ready to go.
Okay, very good.
But again, as Randy said, it's been a long journey to get here. Commissioner Gehring's been very involved in getting us to this point. So we're halfway in the journey. We've got to this point, now the adventure begins. But I'm looking forward to better service to our constituents. I'm looking forward to efficiencies. I'm looking forward to support for staff and the great opportunities ahead. All right, it is official. I believe the last action on the agenda is a executive session for property acquisition, potential for property acquisition. How long?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
11:50, no?
Yep.
11:50.
I move that we recess to executive session in order to discuss potential property acquisition pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. There it is. Item 6, preliminary discussion acquisition of real estate. The commission and Brad for 10 minutes. That'd be from 11:50 until noon. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dalkey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We will be back at noon.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we are out of executive session. No decisions made. Kent, did you get your questions on the transient guest tax answered?
Yes, I think that was
That's
addressed.
the memorandum.
Okay.
And
And everything fits within
Yes.
the boundaries.
Yes.
All right. Any other business? I'm trying to remember. I guess we do have a public forum. I don't think there's anyone online. Anyone in the room to make comments? Okay. Any commission comments?
Yeah, I drove around today looking for a trailer that was on fire, and I guess I haven't asked anybody lately whether we're still cutting tires, but we got a heck of a pile of tires down there. And I think somebody needs to clean it up, get going, or we just figure out something to do.
Just, about half of them were cut up.
Half of them were cut?
In the
Okay,
pile.
in the pile?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
If
but-
that's, couldn't tell whether it's cut or not, I didn't stop.
But you still, I think the guy comes around and buys them in bulk is a good deal, because he gives you a couple of dollars a tire and don't have any labor to cut them up.
Then we need to know that,
I mean,
yeah. But we need to clean it up, maybe
Because
call
he
him,
comes,
see if he comes.
gets to different people around town, and we used him one time to clean up. We're full, like Randy says, I think we couldn't take many more tires.
No, it's, the idea was to get rid of them, cut them and get rid of them at one time. I mean, if you make money off of them, that's fine, but we don't want them sitting around.
No, especially summer, we hear
Yeah,
very
we're
well.
on.
I mean, all the tire dealers keep their tires, I don't understand.
you don't want to
All the
run
tires are
one
coming
spring
from-
and get some mosquitoes coming out.
Yeah, they're all full of water, maybe not.
No, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, very good. Any other commission comments? If not, I move to adjourn. Second by Commissioner Garing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We are adjourned. Next meeting is Tuesday, January 2nd at 12:30. Which,
Actually, at 11:30 for land bank.
oh,
We have a land bank meeting.
Oh.
okay, 11:30 Land Bank, 12:30 Commission meeting.
Can't make no decisions yet. I don't know what I'm thinking I'm gonna make. Just so you're all forewarned.